The cabin had been empty for years, but the fire was ready. It waited the way old things do, without impatience, without expectation. The wood was stacked neatly by the hearth, dry and patient. The chimney stood clear, untouched by smoke, but prepared for it. No one remembered who built the cabin, only that it had always been there, tucked between the trees where the forest softened and the wind calmed itself. People passed it sometimes on long walks. They looked at it with curiosity, maybe even nostalgia, but rarely stopped. Life pulled them elsewhere. Until one evening, when the cold arrived earlier than planned. Mara hadn't meant to wander so far. She had gone out for a short walk, the kind meant to clear the mind, not test endurance. But the trail stretched, the light faded, and the air grew sharper with every breath. By the time she saw the cabin, her hands were numb and her thoughts unfocused. The door opened with a soft protest, like it was surprised but not upset to be disturbed. Inside, the air smelled faintly of pine and old wood, the kind of smell that felt familiar, even if you couldn't explain why. Mara closed the door behind her and leaned against it for a moment. The hearth caught her eye immediately. She didn't question it. She didn't wonder who had left the wood or why. She simply knelt, arranged the logs the way her hands remembered, and struck a match. The flame took quickly. It always did. As the fire grew, warmth filled the room in slow, steady waves, not rushing, not demanding attention, just doing what it was meant to do. Mara sat back on her heels, watching the flames settle into their rhythm. The crackle was soft, reassuring, like a conversation that didn't require words. She stayed there as night fully claimed the forest outside. The windows darkened, reflecting firelight instead of trees. Time loosened its grip. She thought about the year behind her, the changes she hadn't planned, the endings that had arrived without warning. She thought about how tired she was, not just in her body, but somewhere deeper. The fire didn't judge. It didn't rush her toward conclusions. It simply burned. Eventually, she found herself smiling, not because everything was fixed, but because for the first time in a while, she felt held by something steady. When the fire burned low, Mara stood and added another log. The flames welcomed it easily, like they'd been waiting. She slept there that night, wrapped in a blanket she found folded carefully in the corner. When morning came, pale and quiet, she felt rested in a way sleep alone hadn't given her in a long time. Before leaving, she cleaned the hearth, restacked the wood, and left the cabin as she'd found it, except for one thing: the fire. She left it ready. Years later, others would find the cabin when they needed it most. Each time, the fire would be there, waiting, patient, steady, not to solve anything, just to remind them that warmth still existed, that rest was allowed, and that sometimes the most important fires are the ones that don't burn until you arrive.